My name is Leah Miller, and I'm the Associate Director at the JFNA Center on Holocaust Survivor Care and Institute on Aging and Trauma. And I want to welcome you to our final ECHO cohort meeting. This has really been an extraordinary cohort. We have paved the way for something that has never been done before. In the middle, you all had one set of plans when you came into this grant. You were approved for those plans. And then about a week before your program started, the whole world was shaken up and everything had to be rethought. And I am so impressed with the creativity, the problem solving, how you adapted your service delivery to ensure that the most vulnerable people in our communities have been served. It's really been inspiring to watch. And just like the Holocaust survivors and family caregivers who we meet with daily, you resiliently persevered through significant loss of clients and colleagues, and in many cases while understaffed and juggling your personal caregiving responsibilities and grief. So I just wanted to pat you all on the back and wish I could give you all hugs while we meet today virtually. And this call is really in response to questions we've heard from you, which is, what are others doing that works? And how can I sustain my program? So in response to that, the purpose of this call is to share promising practices that we've learned from this grant and successes in sustaining your programs. So first, I would like to briefly introduce my exceptional small and mighty team. If you can wave your hands wildly when I say your names. Shelley Rude-Wernick is our fearless leader. Barbara Vedney, Karen Idel-Yaskowitz, Carmel Rabin, Amanda Jarvis, and Abby Neft. And this makes up the whole center. You often have benefited from their work, even if you haven't seen their faces or spoken to them on the phone. So I want to give them a shout out. After we have brief introductions, we'll have the opportunity to learn from each other. And so we're going to record this webinar. It would be great if you all could show your faces because this is a dialogue if you feel comfortable. I realize we're all in each other's homes and we hardly know each other. So I appreciate that it may not be comfortable for everyone, but it would be great if you could. So with that, Abby, would you go ahead and lead introductions?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am Abby. I am the project assistant at the Center on Aging and Trauma and Institute on Holocaust Survivor Care. We have asked for at least one staffer from each of our ECHO subgrantees to participate in this call. I will call out each subgrantee organization, and we would like one person from that organization to say their name, the name of their colleagues, as well as their city and state. You all are muted now, so we're just asking you when we call on the organization, if you can just unmute yourself. Okay, first is Generations Housing Initiative.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Vera Hunt, and Katie Diano is also with us. I'm sorry, we're in Chicago, Illinois, and Katie Diano is also with us, and Becky John as well.
Great, thank you. Next up is Young Men's and Young Women's Hebrew Association of Borough Park.
Why don't you go ahead, Abby?
Okay, the next up is the Jewish Family Service of Metro West.
Yes, hi, my name is Liz Levy. I'm the coordinator of Holocaust services for Jewish Family Service of Metro West. We're in New Jersey for Essex, Sussex, and Morris County.
Great, thank you. Next up is Project Lead.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Avraham Hecht. I'm the executive director at Project Lead, and we've had a wonderful 2 years with this program. We've really expanded, we've added staff, and we've changed everything that we're much more empathetic and use a PCTI every single day. And also, we've gotten a lot of new funding in the past 2 months. So we'll be running a lot of the programs as the same. We've raised much more than we expected. So we had written grants because we expected maybe we get a different grant, and it worked out. So we're very excited about it.
And Project
Thank
Lead
you.
is based in Queens, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes, and in Kew Gardens, Richmond Hill. We do the Central Queens area.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Next up is Jewish Family Services of Silicon Valley.
Hi, everyone. This is Susan Fraser of JFCS in Silicon Valley. I'm driving right now, so I apologize. You can only see my picture, but I will be joining you live very soon.
Great, thank you. Next is the Jewish Federation of Raleigh-Cary.
Hi, I'm Barbara Kanan. I'm the Associate Director of Clinical Services for Raleigh-Cary Jewish Family Services, and we serve Raleigh and Cary and all of the other towns that make up Wake County here in North Carolina.
Great, thank you. Next is OHEL, Children's Home and Family Services.
Hi, my name's Harriet Blank, and I'm the Director of Geriatric Services, and we cover, our program basically was supposed to cover New York City and maybe Nassau County providing services. We provide other services, but due to the pandemic, our caregiver support group, because of Zoom, the silver lining, was able to go both national and international. So that's been an exciting piece that we didn't expect. And I'm here today by myself. My colleague actually moved during this time period to Boca.
Oh, wow. All right, thank you. Next up is Jewish Family and Children's Services of Greater Monmouth County.
Hi, I'm Jessica Strauss. I am from Jewish Family and Children's Service of Monmouth County. We're based in Asbury Park, so we see all Holocaust survivors in Monmouth County.
Great, thank you. Menorah Center for Nursing and Rehabilitation.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Ray. I am a Dementia Program Director at Menorah Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing, and we are based in Brooklyn, New York.
Great, thank you. Next up is going to be the Jewish Family Services of Washtenaw County.
Hi, I'm Jacob Singer. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Volunteer Services at Jewish Family Services of Washtenaw County. We are located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but serve all of Washtenaw County. For this grant, we also are partnering and working with Jewish Family Service of Metro Detroit, and I see Missy is on the call with us from there as well.
Great, welcome. Next is Lola and Saul Kramer Senior Service Agency.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ethan Kernkraut. I'm the Director for Corporate and Foundation Relations for Morse Life Health System. Kramer is a subsidiary of Morse Life. We are joined on this call with my colleagues Jenny and Sarah, who help administer this grant. And we're in West Palm Beach, Florida, and we cover Palm Beach County in Florida, which is the third largest county in the state.
Great. Jewish Family and Children's Services in Phoenix.
Good morning from Phoenix. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today and sunny. I am the manager of Jewish Social Services for JFCS. We're a very large social service agency, and we cover the entire Maricopa County in Arizona, which there's about 5 million residents in. And we are very happy and feel very fortunate to be able to serve the Holocaust survivors in our community.
It's wonderful. Jewish Family Service of Dallas.
Hello, everyone. This is Yafa Podvilevich Weinberg, clinical psychologist for the Holocaust Survivor Care Program for Jewish Family Service of Greater Dallas. We serve the whole Greater Dallas DFW metropolitan areas. We are delighted to be joining you today. With me, we have our new Director of Older Adult Services, Deborah Lebensberger. As we bid farewell to Debbie Weiner after 30 years of service and many collaborations with JFNA. And I'm joining you today from Costa Rica. Could not miss this call. I'm absolutely delighted to tell you we have more than tripled the number of survivors we serve since the start of this program.
Well, thank you for joining us. I hope it's sunny. I think it snowed here this morning. And then next up is Dorot.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Jane Blumenstein. I am a social worker at Dorot. We're located in New York, Manhattan, Upper West Side. And I am the only one representing Dorot on this call today. Nice to see everyone. And it's a beautiful day in New York. It's almost 52 degrees.
And if we missing anyone, did I forget to mention anyone? Just going around one more time. Okay, well, thank you all very much for joining from all over the country. Leigh, I'm going to put it back to you.
Thanks, Abby. So I want to thank you for submitting the lessons that you've learned and your plans for sustainability in advance of this call. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this project, especially when I was reviewing the highlights of your programs. It was really moving. We noticed trends in your accomplishments, and I want to share them with you so you have an idea of what this group has achieved together. Some have tackled social isolation, built a sense of community among Holocaust survivors, expanded programs to include Holocaust survivors from the former Soviet Union, created new, deep, and diverse relationships among Holocaust survivors, agencies, family caregivers, second generation, and younger generations, met a broad range of needs of Holocaust survivors and their family caregivers, including increasing access to food and nutrition, increasing coping skills and providing tips and strategies for wellness and self-care, decreasing anxiety and depression. You also showed Holocaust survivors that they matter by improving their self-confidence and self-worth, encouraging them to express themselves and help them feel comfortable expressing their feelings. You've built new collaborative relationships in the community and expanded person-centered trauma-informed care, not just through the grant-funded programs, but really through your entire agencies and in some cases through your whole communities. I think what's been so inspiring is sometimes you weren't even funded to do that, and you were motivated to do that on your own in helping us achieve our goal of making person-centered trauma-informed care the normative strategy of care with older adults. So just want you to sit in that success for a moment, and it's really a remarkable achievement. So now we're going to, we would like to have this to be a interactive conversation, and we have a couple of questions. If you would, do you know how to raise your hand? Or maybe if you push the reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and if you push raise hand, that's what it looks like. If you can't figure it out, wave your hands crazily and I will call on you as well. That works too, low tech. So the first thing is that I wanted to really have a chance for others to hear. What are some things that you learned from this grant to make your services more person-centered and trauma-informed, and what was the impact? Maybe another way of asking I'll repeat the question one more time. What are some things you learned from this grant to make your service more person-centered, trauma-informed, and what was the impact? In other words, what advice would you give agencies who want to make their services more person-centered and trauma-informed? Yes, I see Canarsie.
Canarsie, if you could unmute yourself.
Hi, okay, yeah, this is Avraham from Project Lead. I'm just using the a computer from Canarsie. So thank you. Yes, so I think that it was a real learning experience because we really thought about empowering the clients, and even just everything that we bought, everything like in terms of food, we always had feedback. How'd you like it? You want something else? And we were able to really change. And like when they wanted poppy cake, we went out and bought it for them. When they wanted, instead of cottage cheese, they wanted farmer cheese because it's more like what they had in their childhood. We went out and we bought it for them. So it's just very, very interesting how every little thing that we did made a very big difference. And we started using it in like other activities, even working with youth. getting more of the feedback, trying to find out what the youth want, what the parents want. So it's been a real learning experience, and we've also really increased the number of survivors. I can't believe it that we have over 90 survivors now who are getting services, and we also had the trainings that we did. The last training that we did, we had one about a month ago. We had 60 young people in spite of COVID, so that was very moving, and the feedback from the young people who were in that training was very rewarding and enlightening. That they're very interested in hearing about the Holocaust and how people think, and it's nice. A lot of young people have grandparents or great grandparents who were Holocaust survivors, but they don't really talk about a lot of the issues. So it's important that someone else, from a professional standpoint, is giving them that information.
Great, Abraham. I really like how you pointed out how you went the extra mile to find this specific food that people could relate to and brought back memories, and that it was culturally sensitive to their background. So that was a great example of being person-centered, trauma-informed. I think I saw Ohel's hand up next. Harriet?
If you could unmute yourself.
I'm unmuting. I was just looking for my mouse to go to unmute. Hi. So I think that in general, our agency has a kind of a directive or philosophy of doing person-centered treatment throughout the whole agency. So that's from children to older adult services. And we've all been having special trainings and special people coming in, and we've been doing a lot of that kind of a focus. I think that though what was helpful was here we were with older adults and really reviewing and thinking about both trauma-informed care, like what does an older person want, but also thinking about resilience. And you know what, when we think about resilience, we also often think about resilience with our younger clients or clients that are not, shall we say, the older adult clients. And I use one of the examples that one of our clients who, and I think I've shared this with you, who was 100 years old, said, thanked us for therapy in allowing them to explore their triggers and to understand where they are in life and to not allow it to happen to them again. And I think that, you know, you don't have to be just a Holocaust survivor. That's like a PR statement for anyone who wants to go into therapy. But it also shows, I think, everybody, whether you're young, old, what therapist, professional, regular person, that resilience comes at all ages. And we should not even be so like ageist to think that an older person can change, and resilience is there. And I think that that was an important message for our staff. Because sometimes when you're working with older people, you might enjoy it, but there are people that say, well, why are you like working with older adults? And the older adults spoke to us. And again, we are continuing this idea of trauma-focused care. So it's good.
I love how you summarized what a lot of your staff learned from the folks of like that people can change and people can grow. Is a really important lesson, I think.
And it's a staff retention piece for people when you think about it, like, you know, what you do matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Harriet. The next hand that I saw up was from Dallas, except for not in Dallas, Yafa.
Thank you. I want to share two thoughts on this. The first one is the impact that a PCTI approach had when we decided to revamp our friendly visitor program and actually trained all of our volunteers through that lens. So for me to be able to use all of the resources that you made available to us to create a brand new training for our volunteers and having some of our staff also participate on it. It was so successful that once we had all of our survivors who wanted to participate matched, we have expanded the friendly visitor program to other members of our older adult department who also have had experiences of trauma. So we have been able to then continue training on a monthly basis, more volunteers with this unique approach, providing check-ins on a monthly basis, maintaining their awareness from this PCTI perspective. And we get feedback from them that this awareness is improving their work and their relationships in other settings, not only in their work with our clients. And the second subject I wanted to share with you is in terms of the impact that this had on my own work as a clinical psychologist working with Holocaust survivors in trying to completely rethink how to use evidence-based psychological treatment practices through a PCTI lens. So how to adapt, transform, and create brand new approaches so that I could do my work as a psychologist when treating somebody with depression, with anxiety, with a sleep disorder, or whatever it might have been. So it's been a labor of love, and definitely the support that we have received, the knowledge, the trainings have really had an incredible impact, even though our agency was already versed on this as a general concept, but really tackling in the practical applications in our day-to-day work with our clients in all of these different perspectives. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing. The next person I see is Katie from Generations Housing in Chicago.
Hi everyone. So kind of similar to Yafa's program, we also did kind of a friendly visitor program with really a therapeutic lens. And we were really able to have the program be very survivor driven. How we marketed it to our survivors was it's really a chance for them to meet one-on-one with a trusted person that they actually knew ahead of time of the program. So we already had that relationship built to really just work on any type of goal that they're interested in working on. And through that goal, we would kind of work on increasing coping skills and increasing self-worth, but was really using a lot of behavioral activation to do so. But it was really interesting to be able to let the survivor kind of take the wheel on that. And the things that they wanted to do were very beautiful. I think everyone kind of had a unique way of going about their sessions. You know, one survivor really kind of turned it into like almost a cooking class where she wanted to show me, you know, all of her family recipes. Another one of the survivors that participated is an artist, and he wanted to really display his work to the public. And, you know, we created like an Etsy page together. You know, we did have a lot of other residents that were really interested in connecting with their family through Zoom and Skype. So we worked on that. So it was really an amazing experience and fun to do as well.
I appreciate how you empowered the clients to share what they wanted to do and to take ownership of it. It is terrific. The next person I see is Kathy Rude from Phoenix.
Hi, yeah, hi Leah. So I think the thing that I guess am the most proud of when it came to doing the trainings, the PCTI trainings, you know, we're primarily a behavioral health organization. So we do a lot of counseling here, and we opened up the trainings for our staff, but we also decided to open it up to all the Jewish agencies in our community, because we have quite a few of them. So something that's been going on here in the Phoenix metro area for some years now is a lot of the cities here, we have several cities in the Phoenix metro area are doing dementia, they're becoming dementia friends. So the cities are actually doing trainings for for all different industries, for banks, for any industry that touches the senior community. And so we thought, you know, we need to do that for our Holocaust survivor community, because they have, you know, they have communication with these other Jewish agencies. And so why not open it up to the other Jewish agencies to kind of, you know, give them a taste of PCTI, you know, in a layman's way that will help them to work with survivors that come to them for any reason.
Thanks for sharing, Kathy. The next person I see is Barbara from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, hi. It's so wonderful to hear, get insights and windows into everybody's process. It's really beautiful to hear about everyone's work. I feel like one of the big learnings from this year, or deepenings of learnings from our time together, is from a PCTI approach, the context that we've been in from when we began. So the context of this global pandemic, of shifting administrations, of extremes that we're seeing being in a socio-political sphere that relate and trigger PTSD and relate to, at least in my experience with the survivors I worked with, their experiences before, during, and after the war. And so from a PCTI approach, it was just very powerful to really name those triggers and those connections so that we could kind of externalize them and begin to play with them in a different way. And one of the ways that was really a powerful intervention for us was through creative arts therapy and creating a film together about their experiences before, during, and after the war, and as it relates to their experience today in the pandemic. And there was a lot of learning and connection that came from that within each other, to the point where they refer to each other as family now, and they've taken trips together outside of our group of their own accord, and it's been a really beautiful journey to witness and learn from.
Thanks, Barbara. So since I don't see any other hands, I'd like to ask the next question. Abby, would you mind pulling up the results to the sustainability question on the screen?
Yes, it's right here.
Amanda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leah. Thanks, Abby, for pulling this up. So what you see before you is the chart that we used your responses to create. So we found that your cohort had developed a diverse number of strategies to sustain your programs, which we were so happy to see, because it's so important to us that your programs are sustainable, and we love seeing what you create and how many people you touch through your programming. 92% of the subgrantees that submitted this survey reported that they are applying for other grants to sustain their programs. So that's a great amount of you. We would love for you to have an opportunity to share your success stories in sustaining your programs. What resources have you found? For example, one resource that I found is called Philanthropy News Digest, and they have RFPs listed by topic that you can apply to. So the floor is open. Would anyone like to discuss a sustainability? Yeah, Ethan.
Yeah. Hi, this is Avraham. So what we found is that this year there was new funding from the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly. It's really the first time in many years that we have gotten funding from the Senate. We're not sure how much longer it's going to be. It has something to do with federal money coming into the city, and we're very concerned that there's a lot less revenue because a lot of people left the state. But in the meantime, we've taken advantage of that and have gotten that extra funding, and there's more funding that we are expecting as well. So we got extra money from both from the city and the state of New York, and there is also 2 foundations that we had applied to who are also very positive. So we're looking forward to really keeping everything what we've been doing the past 2 years, and we're probably going to add more staff as well.
Thank you. Ethan, did you have a note about sustainability?
Yeah, thank you. So 2 things. We recently became members of NJHSA, and I know I recognize a lot of your faces from our Uniper cohort grant. And so we've been actually using Uniper as a way to connect with these Holocaust survivors that we are serving through the grant. So NJHSA has been a really great asset to us as a new member, and I encourage any of you who have questions about it to reach out to Ruben or me. It's a really fantastic asset for all of us. And secondly, We are in the midst of an active fundraising campaign. We've raised a little under $2 million for what we are calling our Now for Holocaust Survivors initiative. And this provides supplemental services, home care, Meals on Wheels, and also financial emergency assistance. So we're tapping into those funds to continue to help the survivors that have been helped through this grant. And of course, grants, we're always looking for that. It was interesting to see that corporate funding was the lowest. Maybe if we have a chance later to chat about that, I'm curious to see why folks felt that wouldn't be their primary source of funding.
Actually, Ethan, can we turn it around to you and say how you've used corporate funding to be successful in sustaining other programs? Yeah,
so we don't do a ton of corporate philanthropy. We're actually kind of in the infancy. Even though it's in my title, we've been so focused on grants, both federal, state, and local. The partners that we do have on our corporate side, we usually go to our vendors. So we're about $190 million annual operating budget at Morse Life. So we purchase a lot of stuff for a lot of different service lines across the company organization. So we are going to Florida Light and Power. We're going to our insurance company. We just built a new auditorium. So Whiting Turner Contracting. So we go to our vendors who do business with us and ask them to make a philanthropic gift in exchange, to keep that partnership going. And they're usually very willing to do it. Sometimes in the $100,000 to $200,000 range, and sometimes $5,000 or $1,000. All those gifts are really meaningful to us. So that's how we've gone about corporate philanthropy at Morse Life and Kramer.
Thank you so much. I love that you just explained that resource so well and so clearly. I really appreciate. And Avraham, thank you so much for sharing your resource as well. Does anyone else have a sustainability best practice or a sustainability accomplishment they'd like to share? Yafa, is your hand raised? You can go ahead and
yes. So we are, I'm sorry, I'm near a highway. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have tried a couple of different things. We're in our infancy, moving in this direction, but we recently developed a partnership with Toyota for a transportation van that will be supporting transportation for Holocaust survivors in addition to other specific populations within our agency that could benefit from assistance to make it to doctor's appointments or to pick up groceries or things like that. We've also worked, of course, as many of you, with Kavod and with the Blue Card, with our federation and other Jewish organizations.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And so we are also have been approaching through our initiative to try to bring greater awareness to the plight of Holocaust survivors from the former Soviet Union, who in our community have not been known, and their situation is not something that is very commonly being brought up even in regular organizational events about the Holocaust. So we have been working very closely with various organizations to bring greater awareness about their needs. And what has happened is that through that, we've gotten approached by individuals in the community saying, we hear that you have all these new survivors. How are you taking care of can we assist? Can we be volunteers? Can we make a donation? So we're creating new partnerships, and also some of them have included gifts to our agency. And there's a lot of room to grow, of course, in that direction. And of course, as many of you, we have approached other grant opportunities through JFNA, through NJHSA, and just always looking to sort of create a path for sustainability for us. Thank you.
I love that you've included your whole community in finding sustainability resources. It's a full social and economic full circle for you. So that's wonderful. I wanted to also say notably that sustainability can be teaching others in your agency, changing the scale of your program, or even adapting it. Harriet, would you like to chime in?
So I think that was a good, you'd think we talked to each other. We did have to adapt a part of our program because obviously it changes the funds. We looked at some of our other grants or some of our other funding sources and ways to kind of expand certain programs and like kind of move staff. But in terms of like one of the programs that we had where for our, like, let's say our caregiver support groups online and wanting to share with second generations. So we were awarded a whole totally different grant on trauma that needs a match for trauma through the ages. And that's, it's a multi-million-dollar grant, but needs a match. So I have a city grant. And what we did is we took the staff member that we had and we're hooking her up with Naomi Baum in Israel. And we're going to be doing a resilience workbook for children and for our grant and for caregivers. So like, it's another way to use a different part of our grants and to be able to continue the work we did where we saw that children caregivers needed kind of work. And like everyone else said, we're always looking for people, whether it be donations, whether it be volunteers there. One of the things we're looking at, unfortunate because of COVID, is we have a special needs pool, Medicaid pool trust. So we have remainder money, and those are monies that can be used for people with disability or issues within our agency. And we have a lot of extra money. And if we have a shortfall, we might be able to use some of the money that's for people with disability legitimately for survivors who might have special needs. So you try everything, that's all. You just keep on trying.
That's such a great attitude, Harriet. I was wondering if you could briefly tell us what Trauma Through the Ages is for anyone that doesn't know.
So I'm not even 100% sure. There is a grant that we just got, and it's doing different kinds of, we're a trauma team that will be, we're going to actually be establishing an office in Florida. We're establishing our office in our main site in New York, where will be trauma teams that will be sent to people for any trauma you could imagine and think about, and also to be teaching. It is with a PCTI approach, and but the foundation that funded this is requiring a pretty significant match. I do have pretty significant Holocaust grant from the city of New York. So, that is a proper match for them. But I said, if I'm going to be a match, what am I getting out of it? So, I have to negotiate for me. So that's how we're getting this workbook done with this person in Israel. But also what it's allowing us is to use my staff. I didn't want to lose my staff. The other thing is looking at other grants. We got funded a different program where, we're using an empathic robot, the LEQ, for people who've been doing some of the Holocaust money. So we have a state demonstration project for social isolation. So anybody who's in the geographic area that grant services, you look to see, oh, great, there are a lot of survivors in this particular geographic location. How can we now service them? You kind of, you might not fit into this grant, but how can you? Because we've trained everybody in the department on PCTI kinds of training, then you can also use your staff. I don't want to say interchangeably like chess pieces, but certainly kind of broad-based what kind of mental health works they're providing so that we can help as many people as we can with limited resources.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Harriet, for providing those detailed explanations. That was very helpful. The next hand that I saw was Christina.
Hi, so we are a small organization trying to do big things. And so one of the things that we always look at is our bandwidth and what is within our reach, within our network. And so we have found that it's been really beneficial to partner with other organizations in the area that are doing similar work or serving the same population. And that has worked out really well. Holocaust Community Services here in near Chicago. It has been a great partner of ours that is also working with some of the same Holocaust survivors that we serve. And so they have resources that we're able to leverage for our survivors that we don't necessarily have to apply for grants for. Definitely as part of our sustainability plan is to continue seeking additional funding, specifically for our PCTI programs. We've definitely had an opportunity to incorporate PCTI pieces, not just within our social service team, but also within trainings with our on-site management teams, and allowing us the opportunity to continue to replicate that model at other properties as well. So that's something that, you know, we were able to gather from this program, but then also continue to replicate it as well at other properties. We also made an appeal to a real estate member group, and GHI was chosen as their charity of choice. And so as part of that, we were able to leverage additional dollars that we're able to use for our programming, as well as volunteers that want to work with our Holocaust survivors. And as Ethan mentioned as well, that's allowed us to leverage some donations from their vendors that are also part of their membership. And so that's additional funding that we're able to put towards some of our programming to continue it there. And then also from many of our lessons learned over the last 2 years, there's many pieces of our program that we want to continue and incorporate in other programming that we still have at GHI.
Christina, thank you. I love that you talked about how it's replicable across other platforms. I know that's really important for sustainability as well. Becky, I know your hand was up earlier, but if you, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you'd like to speak, but if you don't want to, that's okay too.
I think Christina did a really great job. The one thing that I was going to say is that one of the pieces that really helped us now, and I think will help us moving forward, was before we could even put a question out there to Leah during our check-ins, she automatically had somebody for us to talk to. And so we really appreciated all the networking and brainstorming that we were able to do with other groups in an effort to come up with some creative solutions. And we learned a lot during the process. And so whether our brainstorming continues with this cohort or previous cohorts or future cohorts, we're really glad to be a part of this. One example that we do have for coming up in terms of our health and wellness programming is having a urologist who's coming in. And so we're going to have a women's only group to meet with the urologist. The program will be in English, but afterwards we do have a Russian speaking nurse practitioner who will stay and meet with a smaller group of people to make sure that, our Holocaust survivors, to make sure that they understand everything that was included in the presentation, to be able to answer their questions. I do just want to say that to any group who is working with health and wellness issues, that there are some really good resources out there. If you look especially at the departments of public health, you're able to find not just COVID, but previous resources that are available in Russian. I'd also direct people to health translations. I think it's .org. It's in conjunction with The Ohio State University. And they have come together with a variety of groups, and they have bilingual health and wellness resources in probably 15 different languages. And so that was also a wonderful thing that we found online. So thank you.
Becky, that is a fabulous resource. Thank you so much. Should we do one or two more sustainability examples? Let's see, how about Kathy? Your hand's
So I actually just had a question for Harriet. I was wondering, she talked about a resilience workbook. I don't know if she's able to share any information on how they started that or how to go about looking at doing that for your own community. And
so we've done a few resilience workbooks through COVID and through Project Hope. I mean, it started with Project Hope. So we have one. I mean, if I had your information, I would even send you. We have for like children, and we have how do you talk about sad things and those kinds of workbooks. And we've worked with other kind of trauma specialists for other kinds of events. You know, and you know, people know we try to do these like creative things. I did a boat trip, like a circle line for those of us who are in New York years ago with some money to teach resilience, a resilience training on a circle line. Like I only had Holocaust survivors and older adults. We talked about resilience post a hurricane, you know, like I had a captive audience. We made a booklet from it. So I can share what we have so far, and we're having actually a kickoff meeting. I think it's just something that we've been doing, as I said. We literally have, we literally have a trauma-informed peer supervision and support group for our therapists throughout our clinic, which have nothing to do just with this particular grant, and it's open to any clinician. You know, we have multiple different kinds of behavioral health programs. So we're in it for the long haul in terms of trauma-focused care. So, you know, and I'm very excited about this book. But my meeting is next Wednesday is my meeting. It has to be timed with someone in Israel. So I'll be happy to share more things.
Wonderful.
Just tell me how. I don't actually know. I'm not so technological. That's why I have staff. They help.
I sent you my email address.
Okay, thank you.
We do hope that you'll all stay in contact with each other. I think that you're all each other's best resources. I wanted to we have 5 minutes left for this discussion. So I will call on Kendra to help us finish out our discussion on sustainability.
I'll be brief, but I did want to just bring up the idea of, you know, that we're doing to just stretch our funds, really. I know, you know, sometimes for some people, you know, funds are limited, but we have connected with 2 universities. One is right next door to us at Kingsborough Community College, and I'm sure people in New York, you know, you're familiar with that. But also, we've connected with NYU and Montclair State University's music therapy programs. And so, with the students, we're teaching them about the PCTI and also about Holocaust survivors, because many of them, you know, that they're not so familiar with what the Holocaust is. And then, you know, using their techniques that they're trying to learn as therapists, you know, to help connect with our residents who are Holocaust survivors. So I just wanted to share that. It's been really amazing, you know, to see the responses of the residents and to see, you know, how the students are learning and now taking the information that they're learning and, you know, connecting it with their parents and grandparents. So I just wanted to share that as well.
We're so glad you shared, Kendra. I love that your sustainability has to do with education and sort of keeping the loop going. I think that is so important. We want to give everyone an opportunity. Yafa, are you able to summarize your points in a couple of minutes? Yeah? Okay, go ahead.
It was mostly a question. We are just starting to look into taking advantage of Medicare and Medicaid for reimbursement of psychological care. And I was just wondering if any of the other agencies have been able to do that, and if they have any suggestions or guidance for us. Thank you.
Harriet, go ahead.
So because we have all these very different programs and that have billing capability, if someone is, we always try to spend the least amount of money for a client, but if they really need the services, and we have abilities, we do have abilities. We have certain projects where we can bill, and we can do, right now we're doing telehealth. We are developing satellite mental health clinics, as are other agencies in New York City that have the ability to bill, but if they don't have insurance, then they don't have to bill. So because these are billable services. So we've done easy parts. It's a horrible thing to do. It's the paperwork that you need to have an OMH, an Office of Mental Health licensed clinic. So we have done that so we can indeed bill people. That's where I look at my remainder money, is what I've decided. If people don't want to pay, if they can't pay a copay and they refuse. So why am I going to torture them more? Like, they've already been traumatized. So now I'm going to traumatize them more, so that I might be, because you do have to ask for your copay, so that I could possibly use that as my sliding scale money. But I kind of like I said, what helped, and for some of us who have agencies that have multiple kinds of services, you almost have to step back, not feel like these are your programs. It's hard to do that, and give them over to your friends and colleagues if they can then service the person and then bill and then do the kinds of work they need to do. It's hard.
We're so grateful for your response, Harriet. Now I'd like to call on Leah Bergen-Miller.
I'm just sorry that we're not in person at a training workshop where we can meet together, because it really does make for a different atmosphere, but this is the next best thing, and I'm really glad you all made time for us today. But I want you to know, not only am I reflecting on how incredible is the work that we've achieved together, but this is not the end. Once you're part of our cohort family, you're in it. So we hope that you will stay in touch, not only with us, but with each other. We'll send out the JFNA cohort contact sheets where you can see each other's information and get in touch if you heard a good idea that you want to follow up on. Also, we have 2 webinars that we have planned for this year, 2022, and we'll give you more information about those webinars coming up. We also will have a training workshop, God willing, in person in 2023, and we'll see how the world treats us by then. And we hope that you'll continue to stay in touch with your successes and how you continue your programs or questions you have. We're happy to be a resource for you on anything having to do with aging and trauma, and we'll send resources out to you as well. So it has been a pleasure working with all of you. I thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else you want to say, in parting words of advice you want to share, or anything else, we have the space for another few minutes. I see Abraham's hand.
Yes, so I just want to thank the staff at JFNA. You've been always accessible and very easy to work with. So I just want to thank you. You're all just a wonderful group, always giving us encouragement and working together with us. So thank you. It's been a wonderful journey.
Thank you so much. I promise I did not plant him. Thank you, Abraham. That means a lot. Anybody else? Any other comments?
Leah, it's Ellie. I don't know how to do the hands up. I just want to tell you something, that had your funding not been available, I don't know what we would have done during the pandemic. Your funding started just when it did. We hired a new social worker, and without that, I think we would have been very lost. And we have continued the program, and it's given us growth. And it's given our seniors growth and our survivors. I mean, they're still coming. Our people are coming. We are still doing Zoom, but without your funding, I don't know what would have happened. And I do thank you. And I thank Amanda for putting up with me.
Thank you, Ellie. Deborah.
I just want to second that. Without your support and your funding, we would not have been able to do and to accomplish what Dr. Pavlovitz Weinberg has been able to do. So thank you so much.
Yes, I also agree. And the only thing I'm sad about more than anything is that I didn't get to meet you guys in person. I agree with what Leah said.
Agreed. And we're hoping that once site visits are a thing again, that we'll get to see how your programs were sustained in real life. Would be terrific. Well, thank you all very much, and congratulations on what you've achieved. It's just been monumental in spite of everything. So thank you.
Thank you.